boycotting is not enough. Boycotting the Asian community is just not enough for me. Honestly, I feel like we need to understand what we're competing against. All right. And in order for us to like really crush our competition and let them know like we really don't need them for real, because we don't. And what that video told me was that their business models, they came here and they made great business models that work in our own communities. And we haven't figured out how to do that. So I'm going to take my accounting expertise and bring it to you. So first of all, we need to understand what we're competing against. All right. Now, one person goes over to Asia, they come here, or that one person comes from Asia, they come over here, they work, save money, buy a building, open up a nail salon. They call 5 of their family members and say, hey, nail salon is up and running. You guys come over here and we're going to start working. Now, this is the one thing we're missing and we don't understand about our competitor. They're not going to pay them the same thing that we would expect here in America. Why? Because their expectations are different. They're not coming here thinking they're going to make $17 an hour. They're actually okay with making 10. They're not rich. So their largest expense is now cut in half. Not only that, but their business model makes sense for our own Black communities, right? And I'll say, for the specific communities that one man was talking about, right? He's talking about low income communities. Let's keep it a band. And the reason it works for us is because their price point is low. Why is their price point low? Because they do high volume. High volume meaning there's 5 different people, maybe 6, 7 different employees in there. They can afford to have 6, 7, 8 employees there because they're only paying them $10 an hour. They do not have to pay them the standard rate of like 17. So they can have more employees in there, right? So more employees equals more people that can get done, right? They can probably bust out about $1,500 to $2,000 a day working on maybe, 30, 40 women in one day. That's easy work for them. And that's only one day. So high volume is what helps them. High volume, low price point, okay? Also keep in mind, largest expense is very minimum because they're using foreigners to handle their labor in their business. All right, so now let's talk about us in our Black community. I'm not sure why we have all these one-off nail salons. And what I mean by one-off, meaning you have one person in this nail salon, in this studio, that's charging about $150 per set. That doesn't work. Why would that ever work? 1, you're not helping the community. 2, you're not giving jobs. 3, yeah, you might be making $600 in a day. But how long is that going to last? It might not be consistent, and you're doing all the work, right? Because you're just one person. So you're doing the marketing, you're doing the sales, you have to do the nails, you have to do the cleanup, the taxes, the accounting. You're doing everything because you're one person. But if you opened a business, you can spread the wealth. So hear me out. Again, disclaimer, I am not in the nail industry, so I don't know all the details, but I'm an accountant and I'm really good with numbers. So follow me here. What if we did 2 different models in a nail factory, meaning the first model being a membership model, okay? You tell 150 women that, hey, you can get your nails and toes done twice a month for $200, right? Or maybe you say $300. I'm gonna go with $200 though for math's sake, okay? If you can get 150 women to do that, that's going to be $30,000 in recurring revenue every single month. Guaranteed. $30,000 in recurring revenue, okay? Now, let's talk about the highest expense. It's going to be payroll. You make it $30,000 in recurring revenue, you can afford to pay somebody $17 an hour. It might cost you about, with 5 employees, that's probably going to cost you about $12,240. That's paying 5 employees, $17 per hour, and they're working about 36 hours per week. That's going to be $12,240. If you add in the taxes and the payroll fees that you're going to have to pay, that's going to be about $16,000. Okay. But you just made $30,000. That leaves you with $14,000 left, or 47% of your revenue to pay for other things. And that's just one tier. The second tier is that these nail techs that can build their own clientele, come work in the studio in our building. We take 10%. The other 90 is for you. You think one nail tech, let's say they do $5,000 per month, okay? And that's minimum. They do $5,000 per month. We're going to take 500 of that. You get 10 of those, you done made an extra $5,000. So now instead of $30,000, you just made $35,000. Great business model. Everybody eats. You have your you have your people that want to do their own business. They're keeping 90% of their revenue. Then you have the people that are doing hourly, and you're doing a membership model with them. I want to hear y'all thoughts and what you would think about it. But my goal is to build something sustainable to where we never have to go back to the Asian community. It's not a question of boycotting. You'll never see us again because our business models work in our own communities. All right, that's all I have. Share your thoughts.
Black people as a gotcha against Asians. Whenever Asians talk about hate crimes or fetishization, which are acts of blatant white supremacy, someone's always like, oh, but it was black people who committed the most crimes against Asians. Actually, no, statistically, you're just wrong. It was a white person who walked into the Atlanta spa with a pew-pew and murdered 8 people, including 6 Asian women, citing that they were temptations for his sexual fantasies. Sounds about white to me. And for a second, let's just consider that black people were committing as many crimes per capita as white people were against Asian people. That doesn't make them any worse than the white people committing the crimes. So your whataboutism, I'm just going to throw it back in your face because you're trying to distract from the real issue. And it's not just white people who are doing this. It's people in our own community, Asian people, who are perpetuating this anti-black white supremacist myth. Or if we talk about cultural appropriation, people are like, oh, but Wu-Tang Clan. But Megan Thee Stallion cosplayed as an anime character. I don't give a fuck about Megan. I saw that costume. It made me feel loved. And her political activism has always been on the right side and inclusive of everyone. And if they want to talk about like historical clashes between black people and Asian people, literally Asian people were given not very much land to live on in all these cities, and they always put us right next to the black people as like a buffer to separate the black neighborhoods with the Asian neighborhoods and the white neighborhoods. Like we were just that great wall in between the white people and the black people. All of my talking points where I'm defending our culture and our people from these people, I'm not gonna lie, I learned them mostly from listening to black people, from being in community with black people, from having black people in my life. Talking to them and reading their literature has helped give voice to a lot of these things that I've been feeling my entire life.
Just a reminder to other Asians, when the black community says that they're going to boycott Asian businesses, that's not them being racist. They're literally just asking us to give them the respect that they rightfully deserve. There's a lot of anti-blackness in the Asian community, and I'm sick of seeing it. We're all sick of seeing it. And the black community knows that all Asians aren't racist. It's just that these Asian businesses need to be reminded that they literally profit off of the black community.
So I ran into a couple video regarding how certain black community think that, you know, Asian is open up business in black community and take advantage of the black people. And, you know, there's some other black folks that are very understanding. It's like, hey, that's not how it is, you know, it's just people trying to make some money, you know, they just want to make a living. So as an Asian American that live in a black neighborhood, I just want to break down a few things. Okay, so I live in Pine Hill in Orlando. It's called Crime Hill. Yeah. There's no IHOP here. There's no Danny here. There's no L House here. There used to be an L House. They closed it down too. You know, if you want to eat some real food instead of the McDonald's or Popeye or Wendy's or something like that, there's not much option here. They would not invest here. Like, I work, I make money. The problem is not me giving money for service. The problem is they don't want to provide service because they don't want to take the risk of getting robbed, you know, breaking windows, and people with attitude, you know, whatever. And the Asian American that open a business in the black neighborhood or high crime area or whatever are normally the one that doesn't speak English very well, don't understand the culture very well. You know, they want cheap rent. So to them, it's like the black neighborhood is still better than where they came from, you know? It's still so much better. So when they open up a business, it's like they put themselves at risk. They put themselves in a spot where nobody wants. You know, like even the black folks here. If I saw some black folks got successful, they leave the hood, and then if they have money, they invest somewhere else. You know, live in gated community. You know, they don't want to be here. Not even black people want to invest in a black neighborhood. So at some point, you saw a nail salon, a gas station, or something like that, just understand that these Asian are not like any other Asian. These Asian are like the one that, still trying to adapt into this new society. They don't know any different, and just be appreciate that they got the balls to do what nobody want to do. So go easy on them, man.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Furaha. If you're watching me for the first time, thank you so much for stopping by. On today's video, we're discussing the Asian Americans. Again, we are not done with Asian Americans. We're going to discuss them until this solution is found. Now, we have talked about Asian Americans and how they disrespect Black people, how they disrespect the Black community as a whole, the things that they do to make sure that they put down the Black people, despite the fact that Black people are their customers. Black people are the ones that buy from them. Now, you would be wondering why Black people buy from Asian Americans. It is because Black people just love to support. As long as you have a good product, as long as your service is good, they will support you. Now, that is what has been happening for years. But the Asian Americans have decided to be very disrespectful to Black people, to the point that Black people have felt like, the disrespect is just way too much and they cannot take it anymore. Now, they decided to boycott the Asian businesses, and that boycott has been going on for quite a while. And as some of them boycott their businesses, there are actually some Black Americans that have talked about completely banning the Asian American shops. Now, there's a time where Asian Americans were complaining about, they are being punished for things that they have not done as a whole community. That that makes sense, but the fact that their people were doing that to Black people and they did not come out to complain or, to talk to them, talk sense into their friends and families, made them look like they're accomplices to that. Now, on today's video, we're talking about Blacks needing to devise means and methods to empower their own people. Black people actually, they're thinking of how to just empower their own people and make sure that their money is circulating within themselves. That within the Black communities, there are of course Black people that are interested in businesses, and there are many Black Americans that actually have businesses that are running. Now, what they need to do is to make sure that every other Black people know about this, that they have made a decision to stop supporting any other person and making sure that their money remains with the Black community, which, if you ask me, is a good move, because then the disrespect will go away. People will look at them more seriously, and you expect that if it is Black people that are owning these businesses, of course they're going to treat their own with a lot of empathy, a lot of kindness, a lot of humility. They're going to make sure that Black people as a whole are having a good experience purchasing their stuff. They will have the peace of mind, unlike where they're going to Asian shops and they have to worry about their lives, because there are many people that have lost their lives in the hands of Asian American shopkeepers. And that is not something that you want even to think about when you're going to have a simple purchase. Sometimes you're going to buy a shoe, a pair of shoes. Sometimes you're going to buy water. There are kids that have been killed because of a bottle of water, a bottle of juice. And that is exactly what you do not want to think of when your child is going to shop for water. You do not want a child going in there to buy an item and come out dead. You do not want that. So Black people thinking of ways of empowering their own should be one of the top tier solutions to this. Now, you cannot cut the hand that feeds you. You cannot be that thick in the head that you know very well that you need the Black dollar. You need Black people to buy from you. You need Black people to support you. But you end up every single day disrespecting them, making them feel uncomfortable coming to your shops, making them feel as if they're not adequate enough, as if they're not customer enough. Because when you treat them the way that you have been treating them, it simply means that you do not value them as customers, that you do not, uphold them to some level, to some standard. You look at them as if they need you more than you need them. The truth is that, the fair truth is that we each need each other. But when you behave like that and you miss on the black dollar, you have missed quite a bit. Now, I've said that time and again that black people, in as much as they do not talk a lot about their money and all that, black people are spenders. Black people will buy something, doesn't matter how much, as long as it makes them happy, as long as it satisfies their need, they're going to buy it. And black dollar is very meaningful to any business person that is within the black community. Now, for you to behave as if black people and their black dollar is not enough for you and you do not need it, and some of the Asian Americans came out to even say that they do not need the black dollar, that they can do without it, they have been doing without it, which is really not true, because the black people have been buying from the Asian shops for quite a bit of time, and they have never like looked at it as if they are empowering other people. They have always just supported because they want to support, because they just care about the other person also making something, making a living for themselves, their families, their friends. Yeah. Now, for you to come out to disrespect them to the level where black people are thinking boycott, where black people are thinking banning Asian businesses, then this is really on you. This is your fault. In as much as you want to say that it is not all of you that did this, it's not all of you that, made this decision to disrespect black people. You have been quiet when black people are complaining about being disrespected by people that are your own community. Yeah, they have complained about Asian Americans for way too long. They have killed black children. 1991 they did kill a black child. 19 in 2024, 2023, 2024 actually, they killed another black kid. For what reasons? A bottle of water, a bottle of juice. And that went unnoticed. In fact, the people that were, taken to, they were reported for that case, they were let go because there was nothing they did. They were not convicted. They were not like jailed or something. They were not, there's no justice for the two children that died. Now, that is besides the point. There's also the disrespect that black people have complained about for way too long. They have complained about Asian Americans not being respectful enough, not caring about how they speak to them, not caring how they handle them as customers. It's almost like they do not need the black people. It's almost that they're trying to communicate to black people that they need to not buy from their shops. Now, black people have gotten to a point where they have said, you know what, we're bowing to that. We're just stopping to buy from you and don't complain about it. Now we have videos all over social media where black people are being, condemned for being racist, and that's why they're not buying from the Asian shops. It's just an issue of them always looking at themselves as victims instead of finding a solution, a working solution that will amend all these things that are happening. Now, guys, let me know what you think about this video. Let me know what you think as an Asian American, as a black American. Let me know what you think about the issue of boycotting or banning Asian businesses. And guys, if you have not subscribed to my channel, kindly consider doing that right now. Be part of this amazing family, and let's continue sharing and learning, on this channel as we always do. So, new people, please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you a lot more in the coming days. Guys, I'll see you on my next one. Bye for now.